what if your next boss wasn't a person at all? What if it was an AI? It sounds like science fiction, right? Well, today we're going to look at an idea that's jumping right off the screen and into the boardroom. We're not just talking about the theory. We're going to explore an actual blueprint for how to build an AI boss and, more importantly, how to make sure we stay in control. Let's get into it. So, first things first, let's get one thing straight. This is not some far-off hypothetical future. It's already happening. Right now, companies are appointing AI systems to senior roles. We're seeing this massive shift where AI is moving from just being a helpful tool to actually being a decision-making authority.
And look, these are not just small experiments. This has been going on for a decade. Deep Knowledge Ventures put an AI on its board called Vital way back in 2014. And you've probably seen the recent headlines about Mika, the humanoid robot CEO. The trend is crystal clear, and honestly, it's picking up speed.
But this whole trend brings up a huge, massive question. It's a question that really sits at the very heart of everything we're talking about. If an AI is calling the shots, how can we be absolutely sure that it's operating safely, ethically, and in a way that we can actually, control? This is what researchers call the control problem. It's the big, scary challenge of building an AI manager that we can truly trust. I mean, think about it. How do you give a machine that much power and still keep a grip on the reins? And the root of the problem is right here. The way we make decisions as humans, it's all based on this complex web of social rules, ethics, unspoken understandings. But in AI, its decisions are pure algorithms. You can't just expect it to get all the subtle nuances of managing people. It's basically thinking in a completely different language. So how do we possibly bridge that gap? Well, that's what today is all about. The source material for this explainer lays out a really practical blueprint, a step-by-step model for how you could actually build a controllable, autonomous AI executive right from scratch. The whole model is built around these 6 key parts that all work together. It starts with an algorithmic dictionary, which basically makes sure there's zero room for misinterpretation. It's got its own dedicated rulebook and special machine learning classifiers to spot bad behavior. We'll get into that in a second. But it also uses things like game theory to predict strategic moves and the simple interface so humans can always ask, hey, why'd you do that? It's a whole system designed to translate our messy human world into a language the AI can understand and act on safely. So let's start with the first piece of this puzzle. How in the world do you teach an AI the actual rules of the game? We're talking about the ridiculously complex world of corporate law, company policies, the whole shebang. The secret sauce here is a concept called computational law. And get this, it's not even a new idea. People like the mathematician Leibniz were dreaming about this stuff centuries ago. The basic goal is to take all that dense legal text, all that ambiguous lawyer speak, and turn it into a set of crystal clear algorithms that a computer can follow without any chance of getting it wrong. Now, this is where the model gets really clever. It basically creates 2 parallel worlds. See, humans, we just keep on operating with our normal policies and social cues. But the AI, it gets its own special dedicated algorithmic rulebook. It's a perfect machine-readable translation, which allows it to work right alongside us in our world without ever getting confused by our very human rules. Okay, so the AI knows the rulebook. Great. But how do you teach it about ethics? How do you teach it to spot shady behavior when it sees it? Well, you don't give it a philosophy class. You make it study one of the biggest corporate scandals in modern history. Yep, we're talking about the Enron scandal. The model uses the massive database of real, internal Enron emails as its training ground. It's kind of the perfect, if unfortunate, textbook for teaching an AI exactly what corporate corruption and manipulation look like in the wild. The process is brilliant. It's just 3 steps. First, the system studies real, sketchy emails from the Enron execs. Then, it figures out the underlying patterns of that bad behavior and uses that knowledge to create thousands of brand new, totally synthetic examples of similar stuff. This creates a safe, virtual playground. Think of it like a flight simulator for corporate ethics, where the AI can learn to spot these toxic patterns without ever having to look at a single, real, sensitive company email. So, did it work? You bet it did. For its final exam, the AI was tested against the entire real Enron database. We're talking more than 500,000 emails, 517,000 to be exact. And it successfully flagged the kinds of manipulative communications it was trained to find. It passed with flying colors. So we have a blueprint for an AI boss that we can actually train and control. That's huge. But what would it actually be like to work for one? And what does all of this mean for the future of management as we know it?
Even though we see these sci-fi humanoid CEOs like Mika grabbing all the headlines, the reality of what people want is, well, a lot simpler. A survey of actual corporate directors found that most of them would prefer just a simple text or audio interface. Turns out, when it comes to your AI boss, function is way more important than form.
And that really gets to the ultimate point here. This isn't about creating a robot that perfectly copies a human manager. It's about building a fundamentally new kind of management system, one that can take all the necessary functions, like oversight, analysis, and rule following, and combine them into something that might just be superior to what we have today.
And this is why this whole topic matters so much, even beyond the boardroom. This model for a controllable AI boss is really a small-scale test for a much, much bigger question. As the philosopher David Chalmers says, if there's even a tiny chance of a superintelligence emerging, we have to start thinking right now about how to build in the guardrails. Creating a safe AI for the corner office might just be our first and most important step toward ensuring a safe future for all of us.